Is there a ghost in this office? YouTuber Georgianne Hampton thinks there is. While one worker was at the office late at night, something strange happened. Watch the bottom right corner. Did something unseen just open that drawer? Or are the mechanics of the dresser off kilter? If this is a one-off event, I tend to think it is probably just a malfunctioning dresser. If there's more to the story and more video evidence, I might change my mind though. Either way, it never hurts to burn some sage. A remote shanty house in the middle of nowhere. It's gotta be abandoned, right? Posted to r/ghosts by Livid Excuse 1640. This video reminds every paranormal explorer to be always on their guard. The Redditor is driving down a dirt road at night in what appears to be the boonies with no lights around apart from a faint, distant glow, and yet in the middle of nowhere they come upon a rundown white house. It's dark and clearly abandoned, or so you think, as the Redditor drives slowly past, shining a flashlight onto the house. He spotlights its empty and broken windows, nothing else, that is, until he zooms in on a center window. Here appears a white hooded figure without discernible features. The realization of what they're seeing scares them enough to drop their camera and drive away, while many Redditors in the comments believe the figure is a squatter rather than a ghost. This sighting at an assumedly abandoned house would be unsettling regardless. The Redditor writes in the comments, "I've been in the house once and it's like the people living there just up and left clothes in closets, dishes in the sink, toys on the floor. It was wild. I got halfway down the hallway and something that felt like pure evil came over me and I ran back out." He also shares some still photos with varying exposures that he took from the clip. What do you see in the Rorschach ink blot? This is only a test. Worms aren't only found in insects. They can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, "That thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, lol." What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous. The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned: clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned. Published in October of 2011, the YouTuber wrote in the video description, "I found where the creature has been hiding, along with my dead cat." What creature? While searching his property, the original uploader found a sewer or a drainage pipe, which is where the video begins. As he's walking towards the drain, he only brought his camera and a knife. What does he need a knife for? We'll soon find out. He enters the tunnel, and you can't see much inside apart from his bright headlights on the walls. But then again, as the light shines ahead deeper into the tunnel, he seems to catch a brief glimpse of a creature standing there. Two bright eyes gleaming in the darkness. He races out of the tunnel. He explains that his camera died as he was hurrying home. The sewer being a quarter-mile deep in the forest, for some reason, he decides to head back the next day to explore the tunnel again, in the hopes of capturing the creature face to face. This time he enters the tunnel through the opposite side, where the stream is coming out. Inside, he finds the skull of his cat. He also finds what he believes to be the creature's nest.
That's my cat. That's my cat.
I think I just found this place's nest.
So what do you think? Is this creature indeed alien or some other known life form? Unless we know what sewer this YouTuber is exploring, we cannot move forward with verifying if this footage is legitimate. This video, posted by a man in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh, claims to be targeted by locals after converting to beliefs that's unpopular in the area. Men with their faces covered visit their house with a red canister filled with what I presume is gasoline and threaten to burn the place down. They seem genuinely ready to rip the door down and tear this family apart, especially when they pull out a huge blade and throw it at the door in a display of disgust. Here's the twist. According to a local news source in the area, the video is staged and was made by a family seeking asylum in America. Their anger is quite convincing, and the family really does look scared. So I want your opinion on if you think this is a performance or really a family in distress. A YouTuber named More Bad Ideas is riding his bike late at night. He normally would never go out at this odd hour, but he just got home from vacation and he just can't wait until the morning breaks to ride again. It's a decision that he will soon regret. He's popping wheelies down empty streets and old parking lots when he comes across a random golf ball sticking out from a sewer grate. He's amused and throws it around for a bit. It lands in some grass next to something much weirder, a camcorder laying in a wet plastic bag. The camera still has a memory card and some battery life, so he curiously presses play.
Yo, what the f is this? Dude, are you serious right now? Yo, that a knife with blood?
In case you couldn't see the screen clearly, the video shows a woman tied to a chair whimpering. Suddenly, a car puts its high beams on and floors it towards him. He hops on his bike and narrowly gets away. He sees the person chasing him one more time a short while later, and then he barely escapes again. A YouTuber named Vintango says his Xbox might be possessed by a ghost, and a bunch of people in the comments are backing him up. It's opening and closing at random like crazy, and then all of a sudden it stops like it's thinking about something. When it starts up again, one commenter says that it kind of sounds like the ghost is trying to make the Xbox say "help me." This video is from 2009, so the console was already up to 8 years old and possibly breaking down. Spirits try to communicate with all sorts of other electronic devices, so I guess an old Xbox is as good as anything. Jeff Kessler is camping in the middle of nowhere, all by himself, when a low rumbling noise jolts him awake. It's coming from just outside his tent. He bravely investigates the perimeter of his campsite, armed with only a flashlight. After some searching, he finally comes across the creature that woke him up a few minutes earlier. It appears to be an oddly shaped humanoid creature with broad hips and shoulders, but skinny limbs and a narrow head. Jeff only briefly catches it on camera before turning to run. Apparently, park rangers found his camera under this heavy and mysterious structure of bundled trees, but no signs of Jeff himself. I could find no news articles to verify this story as real, so it could just be an art project. Then again, or maybe it was even a cover-up. Let me know what you think. A man is filming this old medieval building on the Mediterranean island of Sardinia when he notices the curtains of a balcony window are peeled back slightly to reveal a small grayish object peeking out from the bottom. Zoom in, and it almost looks like a tiny face, or else the top of someone's head who is very short, perhaps a small child. It could be a reflection of the palm tree swaying in the wind, or it could be a trapped spirit staring haplessly at the world to which it no longer belongs. If you had a chance to visit a haunted hospital, would you? YouTubers Ogden Paranormal became this haunted hospital's reluctant patients when they stepped into Asylum 49. Published to YouTube in September of 2019, Ogden Paranormal wrote, "The old 2L Hospital is one of the most haunted places in Utah, if not the most haunted. This location was made famous by the Ghost Adventures crew, who have now visited twice due to the incredible evidence they captured the first go-around. Ogden has investigated this place several times, and this time they returned to investigate who or what scared them out of the place years prior." A little background on the old 2L Hospital. As one of Utah's major paranormal sites, the underfunded hospital was without a morgue, leaving the passed away stacked and waiting for their paperwork. Patients have stuck around the place, showing themselves even to those retired folk who resided in and what remained of the building. It's said that sightings of ghost children often precede someone's passing. Others believe that child ghosts are actually demons, and they aren't the only spirits that appear there. A nurse in white roams the hallways, a man dressed in black appears at 3 a.m., and a little girl has been known to appear and then vanish. So who did Ogden Paranormal encounter during their investigation? Let's see firsthand. Granted, this asylum has been turned into a haunted house, so much of the creepiness you see in the video is set up to appear that way, but other things can't really be explained. About 4 minutes in, they head into the nursery, where a creepy old lady statue is posed. They are alone back here, or so they think. Look at the window to the left. Something passes beyond, creating a shadow figure in the frame. It moves out of frame once they come nearer the old lady. Later on, two of the crew see a figure down one hallway. As they're slowly making their way down the hallway, a giggle is heard in one of the rooms. The room is empty apart from some freaky mannequins.
Where you at, Wes?
Later, while all gathered in a conference room, they hear footsteps.
What's that?
Have you not moved?
Nope.
You guys heard those footsteps over here, right?
Yeah,
I thought that was you, man.
During their ghost box session, spirits are responding with frequency. One tells them good luck repeatedly, and one of the spirits brings up Skittles, which had been part of the conversation on a previous visit to the asylum. Little anomalies and disembodied breathing are also heard throughout the investigation. Makes you wonder, are there spirits here? Or are these mannequins about to come? Flickering lights are one thing, but a switch visibly turning off of its own accord? That's a whole other story. Posted to the paranormal subreddit by Nutzak, the redditor writes about this unexplained encounter that his brother caught on camera. According to Nutzak, his brother was home alone, likely checking on his family's dog Oscar, when suddenly the hallway lights started doing their own thing. He recorded the incident as it continued, and this is what he captured. Nutzak states that he lived in the house for 2 years and has always felt strange vibes, but never seen anything firsthand. He writes, "Now after watching the video countless times, I am stumped and believe there is something beyond our knowledge happening here. 2 switches control this hallway light. Both you can see in the video. One is right next to the guy and the other is at the end of the hallway on the left. According to Nutzak, you can see the light switch nearby turn about halfway down, which, as the redditor writes, would be impossible to recreate. Next, it flicks off entirely, turning the hallway light off. This one you can see as clear as day. Some are all in with the paranormal theory, but there's always a skeptic among us. And this time it's Slick Air who states, a combination of loose wiring and a faulty switch can cause this. Others in the thread suggest not even faulty switches can flip off of their own accord. What do you choose to believe? What would you do if you heard intense screaming from an abandoned building? Posted to the Sir Spook subreddit. This video was filmed in an abandoned office. The clip shows the person filming climb up some stairs in a dark, very buggy building. Some eerie screaming and whistling is heard from somewhere beyond. As he continues through the building, entering another room, the agonizing screaming gets louder. He walks closer and closer to another room, but seems to have finally met something that scared him enough to flee, although I'm not sure why those screams weren't enough to begin with. Many in the comments agree that the screaming would have sent him running for the hills. Some even suggest that the Redditor should have called the authorities, as it sounds like someone was in distress. As Britain on Reddit noted, why were you going further? Redditor SRGB Ski remarks that it sounds like someone was being jumped and the filmer walked in on it. Any way you slice it, that sound certainly stays with you. Is there something in the attic? Redditor Airizer suspects so. After hearing tapping on the attic wall, they meet it with Sage. And this is what they captured. What was that sound? I tend to agree with Titus that this sounds like a metallic spring bang, but that doesn't necessarily negate a paranormal presence. Perhaps the spirit's just jumping up and down on the bed. On April 5th of 2016, this mysterious UFO was seen hovering around the International Space Station at 7:23 in the morning during a NASA live stream.
I'll have to close out and open it back up again. Copy.
A flat disk slowly rises on the blue horizon in the distance. It grows larger and larger and then appears to briefly invert itself while continuing to the surface. I have no idea what this thing could be, so please give me your best guess. As far as I know, NASA has yet to give an official explanation. Urban exploration videos in abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the stacked bathrooms. Here's a Banshee.
Alright, copy. I'm throwing this in the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
We should definitely go one at a time.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor. Have you ever heard a Banshee or seen one? You're about to. Posted by Omni King Arceus 2 to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader claims this video may be proof of the existence of banshees. Dressed in long green dresses under gray cloaks with long hair and red eyes from constant crying, banshees appear or are heard by those whose family members or acquaintances have passed. The banshee's cry is described as mournful beyond all other sounds on earth, and when heard in the silent night, it is said to predict the passing of someone close to the listener, or may even be a warning of the person's own forthcoming passing. This clip shows an Irish woman named Nicole walking from a shrieking sound outside her home. For some reason, she decides to head out into the darkness to investigate. While outside, she pauses for a moment to listen, and the haunting wailing is heard again. As she continues wandering in the darkness, she addresses whatever creature is making the noise, saying she's not there to hurt it, but to help it. Not long after, there's a shape in the darkness. You can hardly make it out, but it appears like a robed figure. Again, the shrieking noise is heard. The frightened young woman turns to hurry back inside. In the extended version of the video, the woman explains what happened after she returned home. She said when she arrived at the back door, it was locked. She went to another back door and there was a comb on her desktop. She says she doesn't use combs. She wonders if ghosts groom themselves. What is going on here? Angela Elliott added that if you hear the Banshee, then an acquaintance will pass away, and if you see one, then you will. As a matter of fact, in the clip, Nicole gets a phone call telling her that a schoolmate was found passed away.
Unleashed with my dad against it and all. Back in a sec. I'm sorry, what?
But Nicole saw the Banshee too. Will she be next? Spirits seem to love to announce their presence by turning the lights on and off. Before we had flashlights, it was oil lanterns and candles. The scary phenomenon continues in a haunted house in South Wales when a spirit is told to show a sign. Startled, they investigate the incident by asking the ghost to communicate through this light. It's hard to tell from this creepy video if the flickering is a faulty wire or paranormal activity. A strange grin across his face at 1 minute and 47 seconds is a difficult response to read. A scared and nervous reaction is probably it. He's really being brave. Only a true ghost hunter can smile through their fear. All the more reason to stay out of the forest. Published to YouTube by CJ Fashion in April of 2020. The channel writes, just when I thought a haunted forest couldn't get any scarier, there was an incident inside the Pocomoke forest with a person. Still not sure exactly what is going on with this place, but I can tell you this, something very weird and sketchy is going on in this forest. Pocomoke Forest is located in Maryland and is said to be haunted. Let's find out just how haunted it is. As the crew gets ready to enter the forest, they see a shadow speed across through the woods, and this is only the beginning. They hear something big growling and start to wonder if it could be a bear. As CJ explains, they've been at this site before and he believes his friend Sunny was possessed here. He also notes they're already hearing eerie footsteps all around. They start to explore the forest deeper, hearing noises at all angles.
This was... Oh!
As Many points out, it's at around 28 minutes in that there appears to be a man standing in the forest next to a tree in the distant darkness. CJ says that their eyes are playing tricks on them, but I don't know about that. It's like the Where's Waldo of ghost hunts, and Waldo is definitely there. Can you find this unknown thing in the forest? Would you even want to? A YouTuber named RazakTube is ringing people's doorbells and then blending into their Christmas ornaments wearing a custom-made suit. It's a pretty funny joke until they get to the last house. When the owner comes out brandishing a firearm and a flashlight, they duck back into their car and try to play it off. It isn't long before their cover is blown and the neighbor comes stomping over.
Wait, he's right there.
He's a gun.
Say hello?
Is he coming towards us?
Yeah.
Hello, sir?
You just come to my door, knocking on my door?
Sorry, I can't see anything.
Yeah, you're right, you can't see anything.
At this point, they stop making the YouTube video and quickly get out of there. I have little doubt that this video is completely real, especially considering the bonus footage his friend was able to shoot from the back seat.
Understand me? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Understand me? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
It sounds to me like he was debating on calling the cops on them, and fortunately decided not to. Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted, if that's not a resident. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.